leading holistic and preventive medicine doctor here in Dubai, Dr. Maria Alonso.
So people nowadays, they just eat, watching their mobile phone, still working on the computer, not looking at the food. I would say mindful eating and chewing.
How did you decide to go beyond conventional medicine?
When you have a life-threatening condition, it's wonderful. But when you have a chronic condition, it ends there.
Do you believe that actually this constant chasing of productivity and optimization is actually the biggest enemy?
I was just not satisfied with the treatment possibilities.
I used to wear the Whoop, and when I found out that I burn only 60 calories during my 1 hour Pilates, it just makes me feel bad.
Welcome to Wellness Club Social, Dubai's newest space for real conversations about clean living and modern wellness. I'm Christina, the founder of Crave.
And I'm Biliana, founder of Clean Rebel. And today we're joined by a very special guest, Dr. Maria Alonso. She is a leading holistic and preventive medicine doctor here in Dubai. And originally she's from Spain, but she's educated in Germany. And she combines Western medicine with traditional Chinese medicine, as well as homeopathy and lifestyle medicine. In fact, she was Dubai's first fully DHA or Dubai Health Authority licensed preventive medicine doctor, spearheading the acceptance of preventive and lifestyle medicine in the country itself. She's the co-founder and medical director of Maison Santé, which is the leading preventive health and longevity clinic in Dubai, which is primarily focused on gut health and personalized wellness. Dr. Maria is widely known for her belief that when the gut thrives, the whole body follows. Her work centers around using nutrition, stress management, natural therapies, and so on to help people restore balance and vitality in their lives. She's been featured in countless regional media and global wellness summits for her forward-thinking approach to preventive health. She often says that good health is an active practice, meaning that patients take charge of their own well-being while the doctors act as a guide. So please join us in welcoming Dr. Maria Alonso, a true pioneer in holistic health and a passionate advocate for clean, conscious living. And I'm proud to say my personal doctor, the only doctor I trust in Dubai for sure, since over 2 years. And I've brought my entire family, my husband, my parents, everyone has seen Dr. Maria. I know countless people who have really benefited from her work, and I'm really proud to have you with us today. Welcome, Dr. Maria.
Thank you.
You had such an amazing journey. I mean, it's incredible. How did you decided to go beyond conventional medicine?
Conventional medicine does not give you answers to chronic conditions. I mean, in acute medicine, it's great. When you have a life-threatening condition, it's wonderful. But when you have a chronic condition, it ends there. I mean, you know that people that have, let's say, chronic gut issues. So if you have an infection, you can treat that. But the ongoing symptoms, how do you treat that? You don't have always proper medication for that. And some lifestyle conditions as well. So if you start treating that with really harsh medications, then you get side effects. So you start with one condition. Let's say you have a back pain, you get a painkiller. Then you end up having stomach problems because of the painkiller. Then the stomach problems lead to something else. So I was just not satisfied with the treatment possibilities. So I started looking beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, I faced that with we were talking in the previous episode actually about my acne journey and my skin journey. And that's exactly what happened to me because the doctors just treat one symptom and then you end up suffering from a different side effect, and then it just like snowballs on you. And I think that's a very important point to mention, that people actually don't realize that sometimes you trust a doctor and you do everything they say, and then it ends up, being actually worse for you.
And sometimes it's also because we have now so specialized medicine. So you have a specialist for everything, for your lungs, for your gut, for your heart, but they don't see the connections anymore because they're so specialized in that. And in many, many cases, what you need is to see the whole picture. What will happen if I start treatment doing that here? Will it affect something else? So you need to see the whole body. Everything is connected to everything, and we cannot just ignore that.
And with so much wellness information out there, Dr. Maria, why do you think it is that people are still confused about what's actually good for their bodies and for their health?
Well, one big problem that I see nowadays is that people can just put out something without having the proper knowledge, the proper qualification. You see TikTok and sometimes people talk very confidently about things that then I look up, who's that? And then there's no medical background. There's nothing. Maybe they are somebody that before did, I don't know, a weekend course on something. So you don't know whom to trust anymore, who's saying what. And then a lot of things get super simplified. 3 best solution for your constipation, like 3 things that can fix it for sure. No, we are very different persons. And that's why personalized medicine is so important. What works for you might not work for you, might not work for me. Mm-hmm. I have patients sending me videos telling me, I found this for bloating. Take 1 carrot that you grind in the morning and it'll fix your bloating. Feel free to try it. If that would be true, we would have no problems anymore. So it's very difficult to filter the information, where it comes from, who's saying it, and why are they saying that? Are they trying to sell you something? Are they trying just to gain followers? So it's very confusing.
What about just generally? You've had probably so many patients. What do you see in the modern lifestyle and the fast-paced life, especially in a city like Dubai? What would your gut be screaming at you, like generally, in the sense of like, for example, you live a fast-paced life. You're stressed all the time, but you also do sort of wellness stuff as well. So, and you're confused between how to balance it all. What do you suggest if people come to you with these sort of issues?
First of all, to know that no matter what you try, you can't do things perfectly. So reduce that stress, because nowadays it's like, I need to do this. I need to wake up 5:30 in the morning. I need to run. So just to take it a notch back and see what you can integrate easily in your life. And things that people forget. Your digestion has a big nervous system as well. So people nowadays, they just eat, watching their mobile phone, still working on the computer, not looking at the food. I would say mindful eating and chewing is a big part of your digestion. And when I ask my patients that come bloated and uncomfortable, how do you eat your lunch? Guess the answer. Yeah, I'm in the office, I'm still looking at my emails, or I look at my phone, I watch a little movie. Nobody pauses, looks at the food, because when you look at the food, your brain is already, food is coming. Saliva starting to come into your mouth, your stomach starting to get prepared, enzymes provided. So it's a whole process that you just cut short. And then, of course, bloating can happen, constipation can happen.
Mm-hmm. So this is like the go-to advice that you would say, start there, like start being mindful about your food.
Yes,
start,
step 1.
Yeah, and chewing and, just concentrating on one thing at a time.
Yeah, because most people don't do that. And that costs you nothing. That's how many times do you chew your food?
I'm guilty of it. I'm constantly, literally, I'm just like, it just tastes so good. I'm just going to quickly, especially being a new mom, you just, forget, and you have to train yourself to really, pay attention to one thing that you're doing at a time. It's meditation actually is really good for it. It teaches you, it helps you to do it, but then the rest of your day kind of just goes like this. And I need to slow down sometimes. Mm-hmm.
And that brings me to the next question, is that probably, do you believe that actually this constant chasing of productivity and optimization is actually the biggest enemy to our digestive health and to our gut health?
It's definitely one factor, yes, because people are really so stressed about what they have to do and what they have to achieve that everything is like a competition. I slept better than you. My Whoop is telling me now I had, I don't know how many hours of restful sleep. My heart rate variability is better. It's like everything is like measured and a competition. And if I wake up fine, but my watch tells me I had less sleep than yesterday, I start feeling bad already because I just saw that. So for many people, all this new technology and what they're doing with it is just stressing them out more,
Mm-hmm. And it does add stress. I used to wear the Whoop, and when I found out that I burn only 60 calories during my 1 hour Pilates, I just briefly, I just took it off because I was like, there's no point in knowing that, and it just makes me feel bad.
Yeah.
And you're right with the Oura Ring, for example, also in the morning when you it's like a psychological thing, even if you feel great, it just like completely can throw you off. So it has has two sides to it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's good to have like a bit of baseline information, but if you just rely on that, and the things are not 100% accurate anyway, but if you just rely on that and everything is like, I need to do better, where's the enjoyment in life? Where's the part of the relaxation where you just feel good for something and it does not show up in a number?
Yeah, exactly. Can I ask you another related question, actually? Because I'm also torn. Like, I get the benefit of these wearable devices in terms of getting the baseline data, especially when you start early, and like, let's say you have data to compare from 20 years ago. It's great.
Of course.
But it also has radiation, and it's also like on very important points of your body constantly. And I wonder if I don't know which way to go here. Do I skip the radiation or do I just skip the database?
Maybe not to wear it all the time. I think that's not necessary. Let's say you wear it for a couple of days, you get your data, you think overall it's okay, and then you just relax. Or on the weekend when you're having a good time or on your holiday, that doesn't need to be there 24/7, glued to your hand. Yes, and I've seen a couple of times also kind of little reports on people having actually skin issues because of wearing that all the time.
Yes, it has.
And working out with it all the time. And probably, you sweat and then it's not the best.
Tons of
to wear all these
chemicals
devices.
On it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What about clean eating? What would be the myth that you would highlight that was maybe ridiculous, or you heard like a really funny thing about clean eating?
Not funny, but it happens often, especially when patients are trying to lose weight. They come and they say, well, I eat so good, clean eating and only this, only that. But if you don't count the calories, it means you might still gain weight. So clean eating is great, but if you're losing weight, you still need to look at the calories and to be in a caloric deficit. And you underestimate. Healthy food can be very calorie dense.
Oh, yeah.
You eat a full avocado, it's basically a meal almost,
Yeah.
And your peanut butter and your nuts and all that, it's high calorie.
But do you think there has to be a balance, right, between these very rich foods with a lot of calories in them, and then you still have to count them to lose weight? Like, it has to be a balance, but you have to have them because they do have a lot of benefit.
Of course, clean eating is good and important as much as you can in where you live. I mean, here it's even more difficult than maybe in Europe, where you have next door the fields where the fruits are growing. So you eat clean as much as you can, but then still your macros, how much fat, how much carbs, and how much calories you get in and how much protein is still important.
Can I just ask one question that I really want to know in terms of food here? Because obviously everything is imported, right? And of course, our gut health gets affected by the food you eat. And what would be the best choice? Would you say that eating organic is very important, especially in places like here, or it doesn't really have that much of a difference? Because now it's a trend and some people don't even know what organic is. They just, kind of jump on the marketing train. But is it important?
I think whenever possible, eating organic, of course, is better. Always. It's difficult to get everything all the time organic, yes. And also it's a question on how affordable it is for everyone. So whatever possible in terms of what is available and budget, yes. And then if you really have to be selective, then there's always from these environmental groups like the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15 that you can look at what is more important. If, let's say, my tomatoes are organic, so that's more important, so go for that. And then maybe for the avocado, it's not so important that it's organic. So there is also a difference on what should be organic and what not, if you have restrictions on budget and what is available.
Mm-hmm. Just look up the environmental working group,
Yes.
Dirty Dozen or Clean 15, whatever they call it.
Yes. Every year it comes out, and it changes really from year to year.
Wow, this is very interesting.
In terms of our gut microbiome and the diversity of the bacteria in our gut, what role does the diversity actually play in mood regulation and in our how we make decisions, etc.? Does it affect our brain and our mood?
Yes, it is very, very important. Well, now we can discuss if it's 70, 80%, like, let's say, big part of your serotonin, big part of your dopamine is produced in the gut. And that is like your happy hormones, the feel-good hormones, they are produced there. So if your gut is not happy because what you're eating is creating inflammation, damaging your gut lining, then the production of these neurotransmitters will be also less and it will affect. This is one very, very important thing to consider there. Yes.
And how do we increase the diversity of our gut microbiome?
One important thing is to have a variety of food. What I see a lot is people telling me, my breakfast is always 2 eggs and 1 toast. My lunch is always a salad with chicken and my dinner is so-and-so. So our variety of food has shrunk terribly. So really to try to rotate food, include all the colors of the rainbow. I mean, these recommendations are out there, but nowadays people seem to have forgotten that. And just because oats and berries are healthy, it doesn't mean you have to have it every day. Mix it up a bit.
Yeah. And do you think that there's a particular diet that is the healthiest diet for your gut microbiome, like paleo or keto or Mediterranean or any of these kind of popular diets?
Well, there are some publications on that, and apparently it is the Mediterranean diet, which is, let's say, high in plant-based food, and then a bit of course, meats and fish, healthy fats. So definitely after looking into a lot of data, it was Mediterranean diet.
So it's mostly the plant-based foods that make you have a more diverse gut microbiome.
Yes.
Okay. So sorry.
The fiber, the pre,
now I really want
pre and probiotics in there. Yes.
What about these diets that are very meat heavy? There's a few people out there that are really influencers and they're doctors that eat almost only meat organs and some fruit.
It's super popular now.
Yes,
I
and
see
high
people
fat.
doing it every time. Every month there is like a new influencer doing it now.
Yeah. So I just wonder how the effect is on your gut microbiome actually.
What happens is that maybe they come from a very inflamed gut and they were eating a lot of junk and unhealthy things before. And by switching to eating just the meats and the berries, it's much cleaner. And that helps initially to reduce inflammation so they feel better. Long term, there should be no benefit for that. And I would like to see their cholesterol levels.
Okay. That would be interesting.
Yeah, no, even with keto, I have sometimes very young people coming in and their cholesterol is through the roof because they mainly eat meat and then very, very little fiber.
Makes sense.
What about gut-skin connection? Because a lot of people, of course, when they, get bad acne or whatever, the first impulse is to start with products, right? We're going to buy all the most expensive products because they will definitely help. And it's the biggest misconception, I think. And people never really even make the correlation between the gut. How important is it to look at your gut when you're trying to treat your skin?
Very, very important because skin is just the outer layer of the whole problem, which, of course, with good products, it's important to take care of that as well. But the underlying cause very, very often lies in the gut. Definitely, yes. Inflammation in the gut, candida overgrowth. And I'm not talking only acne, it could be rashes as well. So it's definitely very, very important to look at the same time at the gut. And for the skin, also hormonal issues. So there's a bit of everything that can be involved. And you need to look at everything to really make sure you get the best possible results.
And the gut is also kind of the hormone command center, right? It does play a role in your hormones as well.
Yes. And you also get rid of excess estrogen, for example, through the gut as well. So women that are diagnosed estrogen dominant, you always have to look at their digestive system as well, because that's how you eliminate estrogen. Otherwise, you kind of recycle it.
Yeah.
And also what people forget, your gut is one of the biggest detox organs as well. So if things do not go out there, they get kind of recycled. So that will affect everything from your mood, your skin, everything.
And how literal do you think this saying is, trust your gut feeling, trust your intuition? How biological is it actually and literal rather than something that's just like, esoteric?
Yeah. I think that's very much connected to the nervous system that you have in the gut. That is not so let's say, overlaid by the thinking. So when you feel, it's what you feel like your first feeling on something. It can be something primal like fear, something that makes you uncomfortable. And that's where you feel it first, because maybe if your brain is telling you, no, everything is okay. I know that person, this is okay, this situation is fine. But still your gut can tell you differently because of the connection of the nervous system there. So that's not esoteric at all. I think that is very, very real.
Your body...
Yeah, your body telling you
something that you might not be conscious of.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But even if you're stressed, I feel like you can feel it in your gut. Like this is where the stress lives. If at least for me, this is how it is. Let's imagine two scenarios. For example, there's one person that's very good at keeping their food clean. Everything, following a certain diet, but as soon as something goes wrong, they're very stressed, but they're only eating salads. And then there is another person that, has occasional pizza with their friends on the weekends, for example. Which gut is happier? Of that person who's eating healthy but stressed most of the times if something goes out of control, or a person who allows themselves to eat stuff that are probably not going to make their gut really healthy, but they're more at peace with themselves and with their lifestyle?
Well, definitely the person that enjoys the food and is more relaxed, because no matter how healthy you eat, if you, let's say, are stressed all the time, that will impact also how you digest the food. I mean, you can have the healthiest meal. If you're stressed, your vagus nerve, which also directs like the motility and everything in your digestive system, will be not working properly. So you can get easily bloating, you can get diarrhea, you can get constipation. The absorption of the nutrients of that meal will be affected. So definitely the person that knows to enjoy life. And I would even argue that eating salad all the time is healthy, or, there's good pizza out there with fresh ingredients that are not that bad. So
that is true. But generally, I think just having balance and letting go sometimes is so good, because you can drive yourself crazy. I had that also an interesting thing. Now these tests are very trendy, the intolerance test, right? And they obviously tell you which foods you're intolerant to. I, at the time, had a hormonal issue, and I tested. I was intolerant to everything. It told me because of inflammation, because my body was fighting. And then I got even more stressed out, and I was like, okay, I cannot eat anything. And I cut everything out. And then it took me like 2 years. Then I went, of course, to the doctor after, and my hormones got balanced and everything was fine. But I was eating really, really clean. And even after 2 years, I was like, okay, they said I'm intolerant to gluten, so I cannot never eat gluten again. And then the doctor explained it to me that doesn't work like that. Also, even the times that you get these tests done influence what it's going to show. And I don't think people know that.
No, it's very important to know that this is, a test for the moment. So things can change with your hormones, with age, with diseases that you have. And that's more than anything is a sign that if you have so many intolerances, something is severely wrong in the gut, that you have leaky gut, that you need to look a bit deeper. And avoiding the food temporarily reduces triggers, but is not, let's say, the total treatment. It's not the final solution. And again, I tell my patients when they do this test, because I test for intolerances as well, I tell them, listen, what happens if I eat that? I said, is anything happening now other than you having these symptoms? No. So if by mistake you have it, nothing worse than that will happen. So whatever you eat less of that while we're doing the treatment, it will be a plus. So there's no need to get like a phobia of food and be stressed. Is it this? Is it that?
Mm-hmm. I had a similar experience when I actually tested for intolerances, and I was also intolerant to literally everything but vegetables, fish, and meat. And I was like, well, perfect. Then I really have to eat like extremely healthy. I can't eat anything else. And I just remember I was intolerant to almonds, and I would eat a lot of actually, I would drink a lot of almond milk. Let's put it that way. So I kind of feel like there might be a connection between what you're eating every day or very, very often and that intolerance. Maybe you develop that intolerance because you're eating it very often.
What possibility? Let's say if you have a very monotonous diet and I call it like almost overeating the same stuff all the time, that's a possibility. And then it will show up in your results as well. Sometimes people know that as well. If you tell them, you're intolerant to this. Yeah, I've noticed it, but I really didn't want to realize it.
They ignore it.
But it is, you said before that your hormones, of course, affect your gut, right?
Yes.
Especially, what about like after pregnancy, for example? I'm sure you have a lot of new moms that struggle with stuff like that. And what would be the advice you give? Of course, people are getting bloated after giving birth and constipated and all these things. What would be the best advice for the new moms?
There's a lot of factors, and then of course it varies. There's not like for every mom the same thing applies. I mean, there's lack of sleep, there's the stress of a newborn baby, there's maybe meal times that are completely different, and then there's the hormonal situation. So first of all,
cocktail of.
First thing is like most likely this is a very temporary situation, and let's see how we can support your body during that time in order to make it better. If let's say 3-4 months later the problem persists, then we can definitely dig deeper. But sometimes little things are like improving the hours of sleep, finding help, and somebody to take care of the baby, and just relaxing a little bit on that situation. And hormones go back to normal also within usually 3 months. So it's a temporary thing.
Okay.
I have a question in terms of parasites. What is the connection between parasites and gut health?
Well, parasites can make all sorts of symptoms from diarrhea, constipation, gas, bloating, cramps, itchiness, skin rashes. So they're not healthy to have because they create symptoms. And with a test, it would be important to get rid of them.
Is a person with an unhealthy gut more prone to parasites?
I would say maybe more likely for them to settle down because we are exposed to parasites more often than you might think. You don't need to travel to Bali to get them. So even here, not properly washed salad, water from, whatever source could be. And sushi, animals. So that have not been dewormed properly and all that. So it's more common than you think. But treating that is definitely important. And I believe, yes, if your gut overall is not healthy, your microbiome, the variety of your good bacteria is not good, and you have inflammation, more likely to settle and not just to go through. It's like people that tend to get more often gastroenteritis, like this food poisoning.
Yeah.
People eat the same thing. One gets it, the other one doesn't.
It's like your immunity in the gut. In terms of lifestyle choices and lifestyle, what do you think are the top 3 things that most negatively impact your gut health?
Lack of sleep. Lack of sleep for sure. Stress. And eating habits, as I said, not chewing properly, not paying attention to what you eat, and then of course the junk food that you eat, coffee on an empty stomach, little things. But sleep definitely.
What about carbs and sugar? When someone gets a really intense craving and it's reoccurring for carbs and sugar, I had it with sugar, guilty of that for sure. What does it say? Like, is your gut trying to tell you something?
Could be. You have candida overgrowth. That's a very typical sign of candida overgrowth, that you have cravings for sugar. It could be also that you are eating a lot of carbs, for example, and your insulin sensitivity is not good. So you get like an overshoot of insulin, and after you feel more hungry because your blood sugar drops as well. So you feel like you need to eat something sugary again because your blood sugar just dropped. And sometimes hormonal issues like PCOS, women that have PCOS are more prone to that. So to regulate lifestyle, especially how you eat, making sure your blood sugar doesn't spike is very important, and looking into the gut to see if you have candida overgrowth.
And it's October. Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I have to ask, what is the connection, if any, between gut health and breast cancer or any type of cancer?
Well, inflammation. There is this theory that all cancers start with inflammation. So if you assume that gut health is also immune system, so it can affect everything, and most likely, of course, cancers that are in the gastrointestinal tract. But if you consider also that you eliminate estrogen by having a good functioning gut, that could be contributing to breast cancer as well. If you have genetic predisposition, I would not say that that's very likely to be in everyone. So definitely yes.
As far as I know, the genetic predisposition is only, from what I read, 5 to 10%, and 95 to 90% is lifestyle.
Yes. Smoking, drinking too much, two of the biggest risks that people are not even aware of. And nobody speaks about it.
Yeah.
So what about, how do you test, what kind of test do you do to check your microbiome? What is available to us nowadays?
It's a stool test over 3 days, ideally, where you can check everything from how you digest your proteins and your fats, if your digestive enzymes are working good enough, if you have inflammation, if you have enough of the good bacteria, if the good bacteria is producing enough of the so-called postbiotics or short-chain fatty acids, if you have bacteria that shouldn't be there, if you have fungus like Candida that shouldn't be there, if you have parasites, all that is available with a stool test.
What role do personal care items play in your gut health? Do they have an effect?
Well, you absorb everything you put on your skin. That is used even in medicine, that you apply creams and they're absorbed and they have an inside effect. So basically everything toxic can affect your gut as well. Yes, it can. Same as medication, let's say painkillers. People underestimate. Everybody knows that antibiotics kill your microbiome, but painkillers, Voltaren, Brufen, as bad.
I wanted to ask about this. As you said, your skin absorbs everything. And I'm not sure if it's a myth or I just saw it on Instagram. So just let me know if that has a place to be. They said that water in Dubai is so bad because it's full of, it's basically dead water, and the one we shower with. But we obviously sit in the bath, for example, for quite some time in a hot bath, and our skin absorbs the water and whatever is in the water. Does it have an effect on our general health and maybe gut health or skin microbiome?
I would not think that the water is so bad to that extent. I'm sure it's tested, and it might not be the super quality for drinking. I agree with that. But as a bath, I mean, I don't think it's that bad, but definitely I would recommend to have filters installed for sure.
Yeah.
Even in your shower.
Yes.
So now we know that, gut health plays a huge role in everything, basically, in your immune system, in your mental state, even your longevity. Why do you think that it's still being so underestimated by many people, even, traditional doctors?
Well, talking about gut health involves talking about things that people don't think are very, let's say, exciting, appealing. I see it even in the clinic. Let's say I ask, how is your digestion? It's like, yeah, it's okay. And then you start asking questions, and then they flush, and you ask, do you pass gas? How is the stool? How does it smell? I mean, you know what I mean?
Here's the chart, the poop chart.
It's not a glamorous conversation. That's for sure one part that people don't talk so much about it. But if you consider that everything that you eat, medication, everything is absorbed in your gut, and that is what fuels you, what makes you function. So we should pay a little bit more attention to that, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And is it actually studied in Western medicine at all?
It's starting to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Just like nutrition, I'm assuming.
Exactly, yeah. It took a long time.
Yeah, but They have arrived where you have been since 20 years.
Well, there was always people that were more interested in these things. But yeah, it's been a learning curve for everyone.
But I think also talking about Dubai specifically, right? All the foods which are fermented foods, which are good for your gut, here by law, because of the fermentation process, and which is technically alcohol, it's a bit difficult to have good quality product, a live product, because of that fermentation process. Because we, on my platform Soul Crave, we have this brand, kombucha brand, and she was telling me about your everyday struggles with it. She was fighting to get the get it licensed and do it properly, and now she's doing the same with kefir. So she's trying to make this a live product, and it's so challenging. So everything you see, most products on the market, they say they're good for your gut health, but there's no live bacteria in there to actually help. So a lot of it is just a marketing move.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes, because it gets pasteurized and then,
it's not the same anymore.
It's not the same anymore. That's true, yeah.
What is the least obvious connection between a patient's gut health and an area in their life? That they don't see the connection, but there is definitely a very powerful connection. What do you see the most?
You mean area health-wise?
Health-wise, or just an area in their life, or something that they do that they think relationships, or anything that they think, that cannot possibly affect the way I'm getting bloated, for example.
Let me start with health-wise. I often get people coming that have seen pulmonologists, cardiologists, everything, because they have shortness of breath. They feel like they cannot breathe, and then they are like trying to breathe deep enough, and they don't know where it's coming. And it comes from your gut. It comes from your gut because if anatomically you look, there's so much space here that you share with your lungs, with your heart, and your gut. If your gut is distended, you have constipation, you have gas and bloating, all this push up, like in pregnancy. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's less space up, and then your lungs have more difficulties expanding. So you need to, push harder, and your muscles need to work harder, and that results in shortness of breath. So often I have people coming in with shortness of breath, and then they are very surprised when I tell them it's actually the gut. And when that gets better, the shortness of breath gets better. And relationships, of course, let's say if your gut is not happy, you're not happy, you're in a bad mood, you're irritable all the time, that can affect your relationships with your partner, with your kids, you're on edge. It can affect your performance at work. So you're like this frustrated, unhappy person. And it's not because the situation is bad, it's because your gut is in like a bad shape, and that's affecting everything.
It can be quite disruptive. My husband, for example, had really bad gut issues before he came to you, and it was, he would eat, anything he ate would cause him pain. And, I couldn't even imagine living like that. I mean, it's quite, it's a lot constantly being in pain. Yeah. Would you agree, now we live in Dubai, a lot of us travel, especially long haul flights. Would you agree that that's one of the most kind of aggressive lifestyle choices that we make in terms of our gut health? Does it affect our gut? And if so, what can we do to make it better, especially during the flight or pre or post travel?
I think, it definitely affects, but I would not say it's maybe the worst. Very important, I would try to avoid plain food as much as possible. I would pack my own food because what you get there is prepared maybe a day before, frozen, served, nutritional value is zero. If you eat a lot on a plane with the pressure adjustments and everything, you will be much more prone to gas and bloating. And then, of course, you have, if jet lag is involved as well, your circadian rhythm is off. So important really to eat less, not what they serve you, not to drink alcohol, be well hydrated, and try to adjust your body already on the plane to the circadian rhythm that you will have on arrival. So you will minimize the stress on your body.
I read this very surprising thing that a lot of people, way more than I thought, get constipated while traveling and just cannot, use the bathroom for days after they arrive to their destination. But I guess all these factors contribute. And it's really crazy how, everything is interconnected. But talking about your everyday life, like, because you help so many people every day, you see so many patients, but what are your go-to wellness rituals that you do and habits that you're trying to, better every day?
It's very, very, very simple. I don't have great rituals. I mean, I try to sleep, if possible, 7.5 to 8 hours without compromising that. So that really is something that makes my day or just disrupts my day. If I'm not sleeping enough, the next day it will not be good. I know it already. And then I try to move. And movement is not like the gym and the HIIT and the whatever classes. Sometimes it's just walking 45 minutes, 1 hour just to get moving, because my job is sitting all the time. And I make it a point to pick up my patients from the reception and from the nurses and walk back to my room. I could have the nurse bringing them in, but I make it an effort. So after every patient, I get up, I pick up the next one. So I get at least that few steps in as well. And in terms of eating, I try my best, but I love chocolate. I love also good food. So it's fine as long as that's enjoyable. There is no secret to that. And you need to find out what works good for you.
I love that point you made about walking to pick up the patients, which is, I can confirm 100%. But it's such a small thing that we rarely think about, a small step, let's say, but it makes a huge difference, getting up out of your chair, walking those, whatever 30 steps 10 times a day, it does make a difference. So small things. Now, switching to an important topic that is connected to gut health, which is soil health and the way that we grow food. I know from you that why do we need to supplement nowadays? Why does everyone need to supplement? Well, because our food doesn't contain the same nutrition as it did, let's say, 50 years ago, 100 years ago. So nowadays, sadly, because of modern agriculture, we all have to supplement. What is this connection between the soil health and the gut health in particular?
Well, because the food does not contain the nutrients that it used to contain. So if you grow any vegetable, any fruit in a deprived soil, earth that has less selenium, all of that, it will affect. You have less quantity, you absorb less, so it will affect your overall health and make you have deficiencies. So knowing that means you need to supplement, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm. What about this vitamin D deficiency that everyone has nowadays? Is it coming from our food as well?
That's sun. That's sun.
That's only sun.
Yeah, that's. But 90% of that is sun. There's very little food that has vitamin D, and definitely not enough to maintain healthy levels of vitamin D. That's light.
But so do you think in Dubai, even though we live in a sunny country, because of the people's lifestyles, that we're always inside, we're afraid to come out, it's actually,
vitamin D deficiency is here worse than in Europe, where they have less sun. I see here levels of 7, and the minimum should be 40, by the way. In Europe, everyone is like, oh, the sun is out. Let's sit outside. Let's have a coffee outdoor. Let's go for a walk. Here it's like, you don't walk even. You go from your apartment to the underground parking, to your car, to your office. You have to make an effort to see a ray of sun.
It's very true. And also, I think that nowadays, because, we're so afraid of the sun. From wearing sunglasses all the time, which throws off your body as well, to wearing sunscreen. And I'm very aware of, premature aging, skin aging, and so forth. But there are certain times during the day, especially early in the morning, when the UV index is low, where sunlight exposure into your eyes and onto your skin is really important. And I cannot imagine that this doesn't also have an effect on your gut.
Of course, vitamin D is super important for your gut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
absolutely. There's even a correlation between chronically low vitamin D and cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Colon cancer.
So what do you recommend in terms of sun exposure for your health? What time should people be outside without sunscreen or with sunscreen, of course, mineral?
It depends also on the skin type. Like if you're very white or reddish hair and lots of freckles, it would be different than you have an olive skin and you are like a southern type. Early morning, late afternoon, low IV index, and also there's not even the need to be out properly in the sun. You sit maybe on the beach in the morning in the shade, you still get the reflection of the sun, you still get sunlight. And then, of course, there are sunscreen that you could use if you're more out there that are not toxic and mineral-based. So that's also a possibility. And you can supplement.
When we're talking about the future of wellness and maybe gut health as well in this region, do you think it's moving in the right direction now? Are people more aware? Are people asking, the right questions now? Are people being better educated here in the region? Do you think it's improving slowly, or it's still a bit slow compared to Europe or America?
Oh, no, I think here it's improving even faster than in many places in Europe. And I mean, I can look at the last 20 years and it's been a huge improvement. And we have tests available here. We can send things out to the US to, very specific testing. I think awareness here is even much better than in many other places. And that's been exponential actually over the last couple of years. And you have so many clinics introducing also gut health to their portfolio. So I would say here we are on a very good track on that.
And I feel because of the mixture of cultures, people do bring a lot of preventive medicine, doctors and clinics. And that's very good part, because I do think in the West, it's not still as widely accepted as in some cultures, for example. But I think it is moving in the right direction. And I can see it from, my business, that a lot of people are moving towards cleaner choices, or at least even if they're aware, this is already much better, because they're going to raise their kids like this and their kids will be aware from the beginning. And that's how the change slowly happens.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Going back to kombucha and kefir that Christina brought up, do you think is there any benefit really to your gut health? And if so, is it for everyone? Or is there something that we're not seeing about these kind of products?
It bloats me. All these products bloat me.
So it's not only kombucha and kefir, it is also sauerkraut, tempeh. I mean, all fermented foods have the benefit. You need to start with small dosages to get used to it. What happens if your gut is not used to that, or you have, your microbiome is not in great shape? Of course, that can make severe bloating if you just eat a big portion of that. So definitely introduce it slowly, gradually, and then it can have good benefits. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm a big believer in all these kind of fermented foods myself, because this is not part of the human diet as when we were living in caves, let's say. So I'm kind of a bit of a paleo girl myself. That's my belief in terms of what's best, as a diet. So, because we didn't used to do it, I don't feel like it's a natural thing to be eating on a regular.
But we have evolved since then. So there's definitely...
Have we?
Yeah, I hope so. So I would say there's definitely an advantage to that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How might our relationship with our hygiene affect our gut health, and what, for example, cleaning products we use? Because right now there is a trend to kind of, clean everything, and better you clean, the better it is. But is it always true? Is it good for your microbiome?
Definitely not, especially in children. It's important that their immune system gets trained. So a little bit of dirt goes a long way, like playing in dirt or having a few microbes around, because otherwise your immune system cannot be trained. So it never had contact with such things, and then it will not be prepared for that. So cleanliness, we are overdoing it, I would say. So everything wiping with the Dettol and not touching and this and that, it's not helpful at all. And many of these chemicals are harsh. And you inhale them, they're toxic fumes also for the lung. So to be careful with that, it's very important. And seriously, for children, they need to have that exposure. It's like, even if you don't bring them to kindergarten and they don't get sick in the first years, they will get sick later, because they need to be in contact with bacteria and virus to develop the immune system.
Is there a connection between autism and kids and their gut health? because of exactly this, if we expose them too much to all these toxins and their gut suffers. Is there a proven connection, or it's just
we
a theory?
don't know if it's causality there, but you can see that children with autism or other behavioral problems usually have also gut problems. We can say it that way. And by improving their gut, symptoms can improve. I mean, obviously not a cure, but symptoms can improve. So somehow in a connection, yes, but what is the reason for what and where it comes from, until now, we don't know.
Now, looking into the future, what do you think is the next great frontier or discovery in microbiome science? And how will that transform the way that we view human health today?
Well, in that sense, I don't think it will be like maybe so big innovation, but it might affect ways of treatment and how to personalize treatment better. That, yes, that's constantly happening.
Mm-hmm. Maybe AI and personalized medicine in that sense. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, it would be amazing, right? If you could just take your microbiome, see what's happening and just balance it with something instead of, doing all the hard work, because people are always trying to skip the steps.
But that would not be permanent.
Yes,
that
it
would
will
not be
never
permanent.
work. That's
so
the thing.
It's like people tell me, okay, now we fix this. And then I said, there's no immunity. You can get your bacteria back. You can get a parasite back. You eat wrong. This can go south in a couple of months again. So it's not a fixed thing, and there's no immunity for things that happen there. I mean, you have to constantly work on it. Yeah. There will be no shortcut, I guess.
Sadly, it's a lifestyle change.
Yes.
Always that. Dr. Maria, thank you so much. This brings us to the end of episode 2 of the Wellness Club Social Podcast. Such an honor to have you with us, truly. And thank you for being here. Please tell us how people can find you. How can they, book an appointment with you?
I'm at Maison Santé Clinic. So Maison Santé Clinic, you Google that, you will find me there. And with my name, Maria Alonso.
Thank you so much for coming. And I think it will honestly benefit so much the people that are going to listen to things like that, because it's one thing to read something from some person that you have no idea about their background, especially here in Dubai. And I feel like that's the value of this podcast, is for us to go to trustworthy sources and bring people information that we know. Everything, of course, is very personalized, and not everything is for everyone, as we always say, and there has to be balance in everything. But I do think it's really important for people to check their sources before they act on anything.
Thank you so much for having me here. It was such a blast to talk to you. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next episode, we will be joined by Justin Ford, the founder of Life Within, and we will be talking about functional mushrooms and their benefits. Thank you for joining us today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and also don't forget to comment below and tell us what future experts or doctors or any other guests you would like us to bring to the podcast. Thank you very much for watching.
See you then.